Welcome everybody for this morning's NL Talk sessions. Today we have an NL Talk session with Boudewijn van de Moesdijk, Technical Sales and Product Management Consultants at BroadForward. BroadForward has already been going with us for 10 years, so this is quite a milestone together. It's also the 10th anniversary of the Dutch Pavilion.
Yeah, we're happy to be here again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's quite astonishing what you guys are doing with technically. So today we're going to talk about the promise of 5G standalone requires major investments in new infrastructure, as well as new specialized skills contributing to slow global adoption, which continue to undermine the 5G business case. And BroadForward will explain today how, as a global frontrunner in 5G signaling, it is uniquely able to help accelerate real-world 5G SA adoption, offering hybrid deployment options that fit the timing and roadmap of individual mobile operators, IoT and IPX connectivity providers. So I have already a lot of questions, but first I'd like to hear a little bit more about your ideas and stories. So let's dive in.
Yeah, let's dive in. So I'm going to talk a little bit about 5G standalone, as we call it. In 5G, there are two types of networks. Standalone and non-standalone, which actually uses parts of the 4G network. But many operators want to grow to 5G standalone. And there are lots of issues in doing that, because 5G standalone is a complete new technology. And operators need to gain knowledge in this technology a lot.
Maybe a small question for the ones that are not familiar with what 5G standalone means. Can you maybe share a little bit what does it mean?
Yeah, so there's two types. I just explained that already. There's non-standalone, which only has a 5G radio part.
Okay.
And then the rest of the network is still 4G. So everything behind that is still 4G. Standalone means that you have the 5G radio and that you have the complete network behind it. We call it the core. The network behind that radio network is also running on 5G technology. But that 5G technology is completely different than the technology we had in 4G. And so operators need to gain knowledge about how they deploy these new systems. They have to hire new people that have knowledge of cloud-based deployments. In the past, we never did cloud-based deployments in telecommunication networks. Nowadays, we need to do that. And what we see is that operators are more or less buying these new systems as a whole box.
Okay.
So they're not gaining the knowledge. They just buy the whole box and they let the box be managed as a black box solution. So they don't need to understand the underlying cloud-based technology to manage these 5G standalone networks. And we, as a Dutch company, providing the glue between these networks, we can provide our software not only on the new cloud-based deployment models, but also on the old deployment models, so that these operators can still leverage on their old knowledge for these networks to deploy new products in these networks using BroadForward systems.
That sounds really amazing, and something actually every operator should be using. Because it makes it super easy for them to deploy all these different Gs from one place, basically.
And we see that also. Operators have a lot of interest in our product because of this, because they don't need to use cloud-based systems. Some do. Some are interested in moving towards cloud infrastructure. But many don't, because they just don't have the knowledge yet. And now they get the freedom to gradually start with systems on either bare metal or virtual machines. This is the deployment model they're aware that they're aware of. And so they want to start and continue on that path and then gradually grow to more container-based and cloud-based deployment models.
So you basically give them opportunities
give them a path
to
move towards the newer technology. Exactly.
Very cool. Okay.
And that's what we're doing and what we're helping with. And we also see that many operators, for roaming purposes, where you do need to install additional systems in the network, and many of these systems, they're not delivered with the standard network for everybody who's in his home country will use that network for. You need additional systems in order for roamers to be able to roam 5G when they are abroad, when they are outside of the home country. And only a small portion of the operators have yet installed such systems in the network. And many of these they struggle with this because they are forced to move to those cloud-based systems, the systems that we deliver to glue all these networks together so that they can communicate with each other. They are on cloud-based technology. And we say, no, we don't force you to go to cloud-based technology. You can still use your older deployment technologies like bare metal, like virtual machines. And that helps a lot in the adoption of standalone roaming deployments in the market, what we see.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah, and that's also what I try to explain in the slide. So we don't have the chicken and egg problem that you don't have the knowledge, so you won't go there because you first have to gain the knowledge, which takes a lot of time. We just say no. We provide you with a path moving towards cloud-based systems. You can use our systems to start with what you already have and continue from there.
Okay. And how easy is it to explain this to operators? Do they instantly understand it?
Yes,
or,
they do, because
okay.
they have, of course, they have a lot of knowledge of those legacy deployment models. And when they hear that our product can also be deployed in that environment, they tend to switch to our product and say, okay, well, then you're very interested for us to install it in the network, because even though I do have a cloud-based 5G core already, I have no knowledge of that cloud-based deployment model because the core provider, the network provider, Nokia of the Ericsson, they provided the whole cloud and they manage that whole cloud, so they don't have that knowledge.
Fantastic.
And now looking for technology to connect the networks with other networks in the world, and then having to be forced to go to cloud-based systems where they have no knowledge of, is a struggle for them.
Yeah.
So therefore they're interested in deploying that in legacy systems, on legacy hardware, legacy deployment models like virtual machines, so that they can do that in an environment that they are aware of, they know.
Okay. And how many countries are you now active in?
We have over 120 deployments, but for 5G we have about 12 or 13 deployments already in the world. And we connect the major, what we call the IPX providers, let's say the hubs in the world that connect all the networks together, so that let all the network, instead of having each network connect with another network, which is a lot of work, we call those bilateral connections. We tend to go with multilateral connections via a hub, so that you have one connection to the hub, and then with the rest of the world you can immediately communicate.
Oh, wow.
And those systems is what we deliver for those hubbing providers.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So are there many of such clients then in the world that do this, or is it really focused?
Every operator does that. Every operator connects to such a hubbing provider to get access to the rest of the world, basically.
Fantastic, but it sounds also really new, eh? This is, I think you recently released this.
The 5G technology, I mean, the whole roaming technology is not new, of course, but doing that on 5G, that is new, and those systems are very new as well. And we're just deploying those right now. And we have about 12 deployments already worldwide.
Fantastic. And do you see that there is a change in this need in specific countries, or it doesn't matter, every country, every operator?
No, the majority of the interest comes from Europe, North America, and Asia.
Okay.
But yeah, there's, like I said, there's about 1,700 operators, and only less than 100 now have 5G cores, so they can do that standalone roaming. Yeah. And before they can do that, those interconnect providers, the hubs, they need to support that 5G first before all of these operators can start to provide roaming for their subscribers, of course.
Okay.
So that's why it's important that those hubs have those newer 5G systems in place.
Okay. What was this, the last one, or?
Yeah, well, the last one I already explained. So we provide that fast track, and we don't force operators to move towards a new technology. Of course, it's possible, but if they want to stay with older technology for a while, to take that path or that road path to go to a newer technology, we're fine to support them in that.
No, absolutely. You give them freedom actually to make their own choices, which is quite amazing, I think. So,
Yes.
so what is then next? Are you going to do something similar for 6G, or
Yes, well,
how is your roadmap looking like?
Yeah, for 6G, we're also already making preparations to allow our system to do this interworking between networks so that we can provide the interworking and the backwards compatibility with 4G and 5G to go to 6G. We are already working on getting that implemented in our system so that we're ready for the future as soon as that comes to play. 6G starts to take off, but that's still years away from now. But we're already working on that, and our system is perfectly suited because we already did 2G, 3G, 4G,
Exactly.
and the interworking between of those networks
Yeah.
on our platform.
Yeah, but it keeps you also relevant, for every stage of where different operators are in.
Exactly.
So that's,
exactly.
I think, a very unique position, and also makes clear what your roadmap is for your own company as well, I guess.
Exactly, and operators, they see that. They see that we already have provided the basically the glue, the interconnect between the 2G, 3G, and the 4G, and now the 5G networks. And they will also understand that we provide the same for the 6G network as soon as that comes along.
Okay, cool. Any last comments on what your ambitions are for the upcoming week? What is your biggest challenge or your biggest opportunity that you
Well,
have come ahead?
We have a lot of new opportunities coming up in the Far East, in Japan. It's a very difficult market to penetrate, also for us. And we have a couple of meetings with Japanese people standing.
Okay.
So I'm really hoping that we can meet them and that we can have good meetings with them, particularly here on the stand using our meeting rooms. That will be very, very successful for me as an employee of BroadForward.
Well, I think that's a great way to finish. So I think a lot of opportunities, a lot of business opportunities, and a really amazing product, which I think all operators should hear about. So
Yeah.
we're definitely going to be shouting that from the roofs from the Netherlands perspective, of course. I think it's also really great that we have such core activity coming from the Netherlands that is international relevance to work, and that is also working and it's already showcasing that it works in so many places. So congratulations on that, and I wish you really a great time the rest of the week.
Yeah, thank you, Anke, for being here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.